What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. We got a crazy story for you guys out of Japan, but before we get to that, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Be sure to follow me on all of my social medias down in the comment section, and let's get into this. So, from Reuters, it's now or never to stop Japan's shrinking population, Prime Minister says. January 23rd, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida pledged on Monday to take urgent steps to tackle the country's declining birth rate, saying it was now or never for one of the world's oldest societies. Japan has in recent years been trying to encourage its people to have more children with promises of cash bonuses and better benefits, but it remains one of the most expensive places in the world to raise a child, according to surveys. Births plunged to a new record low last year, according to official estimates, dropping below 800,000 for the first time, a watershed moment that came 8 years earlier than the government had expected. That most likely precipitated a further population decline in a country where the median age is only 49, the highest in the world behind only the tiny city-state of Monaco. Our nation is on the cusp of whether it can maintain its societal functions, Kishida said in a policy speech at the opening of this year's parliamentary session. Now, why are birth rates and fertility rates so important? So I want you to imagine for a second that you need a computer, okay? And you go online nowadays and you can just simply buy one off of Amazon. But I want you to imagine for a moment that you live in Japan and eventually you get to the point where you can no longer buy a computer because they're no longer being built. You want to know why they're no longer being built? Because all the people that knew how to build those things have died off, and the next generation did not replace those people. This is obviously a major issue, and it's not just an issue in Japan. Let me show you this. The birth rate or the fertility rate needed in order for a new generation to replace the old generation is 2.1 kids needed per woman. Let's look at these fertility rates in the world. So China, 1.3, France, 1.8, Germany, 1.5, Japan, 1.3, the UK, 1.6, the United States, 1.6. Not a single one of these countries is having enough kids to be able to replace their older populations. And what happens is these countries are faced with a younger generation that is exceedingly getting smaller, but nonetheless, that younger generation is expected to put forth the money and the tax money towards welfare to pay for a exceedingly larger group of older individuals in your country. Now, countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, they have, and France as well, we've kind of been able to supplement our population with things like immigration and illegal immigration. It's one of the good things about illegal immigration. However, it's kind of a double-edged sword. And the reason why is because the majority of people, at least in the United States, who are coming across the southern border illegally or going through the ports of entry legally, these are all adults, okay? Or at least the majority of them are. And it's just adding to the issue. It's adding more adults that will eventually just get older, and the younger generation that is not large enough to replace the older is just going to end up footing the bill. This is a major issue because you have younger generations that are not able, they don't have the same knowledge that the older generation does, and you end up losing skills. A great example of this is the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire had indoor plumbing. A lot of people don't know that. The Roman Empire had indoor plumbing in their buildings. And then after the Roman Empire fell, you got into the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages with, knights and castles and all this stuff. And they were opening up the lid of their toilet into a hole. It was just a hole where all of your bodily fluids went down, and it just dropped and plopped down there. And then you had, a servant go and clean it up. No indoor plumbing. Where did that knowledge go? Where did it go? The next generation did not have the same knowledge of the older. The next generation was not large enough to replace the older generation. So they lost that knowledge. Now, what is some of the major causes of this? So one of the major causes is obesity rates. According to National Library of Medicine, the prevalence of obesity and overweight are increasing and have become an epidemic worldwide. Obesity has detrimental influences on all systems, including reproductive health. And this is in both men and women, by the way. The prevalence of obesity in infertile women is high, and it is well known that there is an association between obesity and infertility. The relationship between obesity and reproductive functions is still being explored. Overweight women have a higher incidence of menstrual dysfunction and anovulation. Overweight and obese women are at higher risk for reproductive health. The risk of that's a crazy word, and infertility, conception rates, miscarriage rates, and pregnancy complications are increasing in these women. Let's look at this. The United States, 36.2% obesity rate when you combine both men and women. That is enough to put us 12th in the world per capita. Per capita, we have the 12th largest number of obese people in our country, in the world. So what can we do, guys? I mean, obviously this is an issue. The younger generation in the United States, the United Kingdom, most of the developed world, it's not enough to replace the older generations, and this comes with obvious issues. You lose knowledge. You lose people that have skills, and the economy can't function. What happens when you don't have enough young people to work in your factories? What happens when you don't have enough young people to build your economy? Your economy falters. It's exactly what's happening in Japan right now. China is facing the same thing. They also have a fertility rate of 1.3, same as Japan. So what can we do? Guys, we got to eat healthier and exercise. We got to. And ultimately, I'm not here to make anybody feel bad about their weight. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm simply pointing out a flaw in our society that needs to be fixed. We've got to eat healthier food. We gotta exercise. And I'm no doctor. You need to go to your doctor. You need to talk to them and see what you can do to get out of this funk, because we as a society are faltering because of this. We got to get our birth rates up. And lastly, just have more kids. Go have kids. I hear this all the time from people. Oh, why would I want to raise a kid in this society, in this culture? Well, to those people, I would say that's on you. Do you not live in this society? Do you not live in this culture? Do you not live in this country? I would say that you do. And because of that, you have a responsibility to make it the kind of society and the kind of culture that you want to live in. And let's be honest here. I want to show you guys this. The fertility rate in Afghanistan is 4.8. It's 4.8. Like, no disrespect to people in Afghanistan, but they don't exactly live easy lives there. They don't. They live very hard lives in Afghanistan. Comparatively, us here in the United States, the United Kingdom, we live very soft, cushy, and easy lives. Now, comparative to the rest of the world, of course. Now, that's not to say that we don't have our struggles, but comparatively, we live very soft, cushy, and easy lives. And if people in Afghanistan can make it work, so can we. Let's be better, guys. We got to change our culture. We got to change our society for the better. All right, I'll leave it there. I got another show coming for you guys tomorrow. I'll see you then. Later, guys.